Morning everyone. Welcome to the session for IBPS Clerk Prelims 2018. As a part of our preparation program for the IBPS Clerk Prelims, we are covering today the topic of directions and distance. Okay, it's a part of the reasoning section of your examination, and it's one of those question types which frequently appear in the reasoning section. Out of the 35 questions that you have from reasoning, you can expect up to 2 to 3 questions from direction and distance. That's a minimum that you can definitely expect from this topic. So that makes it a very important topic for the prelims examination. Yeah. You see, some of the question types are there from reasoning which are more important for prelims as compared to mains. You see, questions on let's say syllogism or machine input output today are more important for the mains examination. Blood relations, direction sense, coding decoding have become more important for the prelims examination. Puzzles are important for both prelims as well as mains. Now, so what we'll do is to first of all develop the conceptual understanding of directions and distance, what is also called as direction sense, and then obviously discuss the application of the concept through problem solving. Yeah, so that will be the two core goals for the class today. So let's start directly with understanding the concept of directions and distance. This is something that we are very comfortable with in our day-to-day life, and we talk about directions in our day-to-day life, like traveling from one area to another. We ask for directions, and let's say we use Google Maps for directions, and you see the Google Maps telling you that it goes straight and turn right or turn left. Sometimes you head south, move 5 kilometers south, and then take a left turn, then take a right turn. So we use directions in our day-to-day life in applications like Google Maps and other map-based applications, apps and online applications, or also while talking to people. If we ask directions, they will tell you how you have to go straight and then take a right turn or take a left turn and all those things. Something that we are all familiar with in our day-to-day life. So just trying to put it in a proper structure. So as a part of the structure, let's first see what are the principal directions. So we have the 4 main directions. The compass always points towards north, so this is the north, and the opposite of north is south. And then we have east and west. So these are our principal directions, east and west, and this is something that I'm sure you all understand, right? So 4 cardinal directions, north, south, east and west, and the angle between any 2 of these is always 90 degrees. Okay. Sometimes angle based questions also come in exams, so we should understand what is the meaning of angles. So north, south, east and west are the 4 core directions that you have. So if someone starts from his home, let's say he starts from his home and moves 5 kilometers towards east. So how will you make it? Let's say this is his home and he travels 5 kilometers towards east. This will be the distance travelled towards the east direction. Okay? So that's how questions will give you instructions. A person started from his home and travelled 5 kilometers towards east. Then he took a left turn. So now we get to idea of left and right. Now this we cannot put in a theory part. Just understand, when you are facing east, which side will be your left? Your left will be towards north and right will be towards south. Okay, so that you have to figure out by placing yourself visually. You have to just imagine that you are here. So if you are facing east, then left is towards north. So if he moves 3 kilometers left, or let's say he moves 12 kilometers left. The person starts from his home, goes 5 kilometers towards east, and then he takes a left turn and walks 12 kilometers and reaches a particular place. Let's call this place as a shop. He reaches a shop. Now the question is, what is the shortest distance? Some questions are based on finding the shortest distance. So what is the shortest distance from his home to the shop, or from his starting point and the point where he stopped? What is the shortest distance? So when you take shortest distance, you always take this straight line connecting the 2 places. So if I take a straight line, let's say this is a straight line, what is this distance in kilometers? Okay, That is what the question is asking. What is the shortest distance from his home to shop? Now just now we have discussed that between every two cardinal direction we have angle of 90 degrees. This is your east, just make a dotted line, this is your east, this is your south, this is north, this is west, correct. So the angle here is 90 degrees. Now what is the angle? So once we know that the angle is 90 degrees, what comes into picture? The concept of Pythagoras theorem. Pythagoras theorem, which is used for a right angle triangle. In a right angle triangle, one angle is 90 degree. Okay, now we have sides A, B, C. So we say that AB square plus BC square is equal to AC square. This is one formula that is used frequently in questions on directions and distance also. So we now know that one side is 5 and one side is 12. What will be the third side? So we can say let this third side be equal to x kilometers. Okay, so x kilometers. So we can say then that 5 square plus 12 square is equal to x square, or 5 square is 25 and 12 square is 144 is equal to x square. So we know that now that x square is equal to 169, x is equal to under root 169, that is equal to 13. That is your answer. What is the shortest distance from his home to the shop where he has stopped? The answer will be 13. So two concepts we have discussed here in the first slide. First is the concept of directions, east, west, north, south. Then we also seen a sample question here of how we use this distance directions in solving a question like this, and also we have discussed briefly the concept of Pythagoras theorem, where the sum of the square of the two shorter sides is equal to the square of the longer side in a right angle triangle. Okay. So directions and distance we have seen. Let's now discuss the next concept. So what else do we need to keep in mind while solving questions on directions and distance? So we'll see here how do we what are the other directions. So do we have only 4 directions, or there are other directions also in this question? So let's see here what other directions do we have. So if you take the 4 directions, okay, north and south, and we have east and west. North, south, east, west are the 4 cardinal directions, and the angle, although it is not a perfect straight line, but the angle is 90 degrees. Now between north and east we have what is called as northeast, NE. So what is NE here? NE is northeast. That means between north and east. Ideally the angle is 45 degrees, correct. So initially the angle between the principal directions was 90 degrees, but now it is 45 degrees. Now between north and west what do we have? So we have the northwest, NW. So NW stands for northwest. Now between south and east we have southeast. SE stands for southeast here, and between south and west we have southwest. Southwest. So northeast, northwest, southeast and southwest. Now in addition to the 4 main directions, north, south, east, west, these are 4 more directions. That is what we call as a 8-point compass. The 8 directions of the compass: north, south, east, west, northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest. Clear? And the angle between any 2 of these, wherever you take the angle 45 degrees, angle will always be 45 degrees. The northeast part of India, if you see Assam and Meghalaya, these are all in the northeastern states of India. Northeast, Punjab, is in the northwest of our country. South east, you can say Tamil Nadu would be towards south east, southwest is Karnataka. So this is how we talk about south east, southwest, northeast, northwest. And there is a second concept from directions and distance that we need to keep in mind for solving questions. Now next move to the third concept that we need to understand from directions and distance. That is regarding changing the names of directions. So changing the names of directions, or changing the names, or we can say the arrangement of directions. You will see what I mean when I take an example to make you understand. So let's first of all understand here. Let's take a 4-point compass and see. This is north, this is east, and this is west, this is south. So from east, when we go anti-clockwise, the first direction is north, and this is west, this is south, and then we get this east. Let's keep this in mind. And let's say someone tells you that north has become east. So this is east. If north has become east, then what direction will this be? So from east, whenever you go anti-clockwise, you get the north direction first. That's what I'm telling you. From east, when you go anti-clockwise, you always get the north direction, and then from north we get the south west direction. North we get west, and from west we get south, and south we get east. For solving questions on shadows, or solving questions which are based on changing the names of directions, this is how we solve. Clear? So let's say, for example, if southeast is west, then sun will rise in which direction? Sun will rise in which direction? Now sun will always rise from the east, but what we are doing here is changing the name of directions. Okay, let's see this question. If southeast is west, sun will rise in which direction? So if I take the 8 directions and make a diagram here, we know that this is what is called as southeast. See in the previous figure also, this is our southeast. Clear? So this is southeast, and southeast has become west. South has become now what? West. If this is west, then the opposite direction should be east. Clear? Opposite of west is east. From east, when we go anti-clockwise 90 degrees, we should get north. So this will be south. Clear? If this is west, this is south. You see, this is south, this is west, so this will be southwest. This is our southwest. Now if you correspond this with the actual direction that is represented by the same thing, we know that this is actually our east, and we know sun rises east, but what is east being called here? East is being called southwest. So answer for this question would then become southwest. Clear? It's a tricky question, change of directions, changing the name of directions, but try to understand how did I solve it. First it says southeast is west. So what is our southeast? That I am taking first, and now we are calling this as west. Southeast remains southeast, but we are calling it west. What is opposite of west? East. From east, when we go anti-clockwise, what do we get? North. What is opposite north? South. If this is south and this is west, between south and west the direction is called southwest. But the southwest actually is our east, and we know sun rises in the east. So here the answer will become the sun rises in southwest, based on the condition given to you in the question. Now let's look at the next concept that we need to see from directions. Next concept from directions that we need to understand is the concept of light and shadow. light and shadow. So what do we know about the interplay between light and shadow? इनके बीच में relation क्या है light and shadow के बीच? So we say if light is coming from one direction, suppose this is the direction from which light is coming, okay, then shadow will always be in the opposite direction. Shadow will always be, suppose this is an object here, right, some kind of electric pole, right? And we have the sun here, sun is this side. So light is coming from this side, the shadow of the electric pole will always go in the opposite direction. So that's what I mean to say when I say that shadow will always be in the opposite direction of the light source. Clear? If the light source comes from the left side, shadow will be towards right. The light source comes from the right side, shadow will be towards left. If light comes from east, shadow will be towards west. If light comes from west, shadow will be towards east. That's one very concept, and we should know that then in the morning sun is in the east. This is very basic. Sun is in the east, and in the evening sun is in the west. So if the question tells you in the morning, understand the light source is in the east, and the question says in the evening, then the light source is in the west. So if sun is in the east in the morning, shadows will be towards west. Shadows will be in which direction? West. And if sun is in the east in the west in the evening, then shadows will be towards east. Shadows will be towards east. So this is what we are trying to just make it very clear to you. What is the interplay between light and shadow? If light comes from one direction, shadow will be in the opposite direction. And in the question, if nothing else is mentioned, you have to understand that light source is the sun. Clear? So if to say in the morning, when the morning sun is in the east, shadows are towards west. In the evening, sun is in the west, shadows are towards east. Okay. Now let's look at this question here. Example question from problem solving. P started from his house towards west. So let's say he started from his house. This is his house. Let's say this point represents his house, and he towards west. Okay. So let me just a second, 1 minute. So let's say this point represents his house. This point represents his house, and he started from his house towards west. Which direction? Towards west. After walking a distance of 25 meters, so he walks a distance of 25 meters. He turned to the right and walked 10 meters. So he turns right and walks 10 meters. Clear? When he turns right, he is going towards the north. He then again turned right and walked 15 meters. So he turns right now and walks 15 meters. After this he is to turn. After this he is to turn right at 135 degrees and cover 30 meters. In which direction should he go? Right now he is here, and after this he has to turn right 135 degrees. So what is 135 degrees? So this is another thing that is very important for your direction sense. 135 degrees is equal to 90 degrees plus 45 degrees. Okay. That's one thing that you should understand. Next is that in some question they will talk about turning clockwise and anti. So this is what we mean by clockwise. Turning towards your right. Clockwise also can mean turn towards your right. Turn towards right. Wherever you are. If you turn clockwise means you turn towards your right, and if you turn counterclockwise or anti-clockwise, this is anti-clockwise, turn towards left. Turn towards left. wherever you are. If you turn towards your left, that means you're turning anti-clockwise, and turn towards your right, you're turning clockwise. Now he is to turn right, that means clockwise at 135 degrees. First of all, let's see. If it does not turn at all, which direction will he continue to go in? This direction is east, right? We know that this is which direction? East. If it turns 90 degrees in the clockwise direction, this is what we mean by turning 90 degrees towards right. Clear? But he is not turning 90 degrees towards right, he is turning 90 plus 45. So it took another 45. So in which direction is he going? He is going in this direction. And what is this direction called? If you see, this is called southwest direction. As you see, we have south, we have west, and this direction is southwest direction. So in which direction he should go? He should go in the southwest direction. That's how you solve this question, okay? In which direction is going? Southwest direction. So that's our question, example question from direction sense. Next we'll see here another question. A man walks 2 kilometers towards north. So let's say this is the starting point. He walks 2 kilometers towards north, okay? So this is just 2 kilometers towards north. It turns east and walks 10 kilometers. It turns east and walks 10 kilometers. It's not drawn to scale, rough diagram you can see. After this it turns north and walks 3 kilometers. 3 kilometers. This is 3 kilometers. Again it turns east and walks 2 kilometers. 2 kilometers again towards east. So first he is going north, then east, then north, then east. First 2 kilometers, then 10, then 3, then 2. How far is he from the starting point? Again that means we have to find the shortest distance between the starting point and this point. Let's try to complete this into a triangle, okay? Let's say this is a triangle, and it's a 90-degree angle, okay? Now this is 3, this will be 3, this total length is equal to 5, okay? And this is 10, so this is 10, this is 2, so total length here is equal to 12. Let this be x. Now we have solved earlier also similar right angle triangle. 5 square plus 12 square is equal to x square equal to 169, x equals under root 169, which is equal to 13. So how far is he from the starting point? 13 kilometers from the starting point. That's the answer for this question. That's how we solve a question like this. Next we'll see the previous session contest question. This is from the class on order and ranking. So Amit's rank from the class from the top is 24 and Kunal's rank from the bottom is 32. What is the minimum number of students in the class? What can be the minimum number of students in the class? Okay. So the answer for this question would be 32. So at least we know that there are 32 students. Now this will happen when Kunal's rank from the bottom is 32, clear, and he is the 32nd from the bottom, and let's say he is the first ranker student and from the bottom is the 32nd student. So minimum student, what is the minimum number of students in the class? The answer would be 32. Clear? Kunal, this is a very simple question. Kunal, whom we are saying is the 32nd from the bottom, is the 32nd from the bottom, could also be the first from the top. That is the minimum scenario. At least 32 students have to be there, otherwise how is a person getting 32nd rank, right? That's why the answer is 32. Clear? That's the question and the answer. Now today's context question, a 48-point magnetic compass. So magnetic compass which contains 8 points, north, south, east, west, northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest. The 8-point compass is a faulty compass because it's not showing the correct direction. The faulty 8-point magnetic compass indicates the sun is rising in the northwest direction. What actual direction does the southeast point in the faulty compass represent? something very similar to this. So if you had been following the class properly, you'll know exactly how to solve this question. So you can solve the question and post the answer in the comment section. Here, the 48-point magnetic compass indicates the sun is rising in the northwest direction. What actual direction does the southeast point in the 40 compass represent? Here, now I will be discussing the solution for this contest question in my next reasoning class. Now we'll continue with the topic problem solving for directions and distance, and we'll see some of the questions. Let's look at this question. This is based on shadow and light. One morning, Rita and Savita were talking to each other face to face at the crossroad. If Savita's shadow was exactly to the right of Rita, so let's say this is Rita and this is Savita, and they were talking to each other face to face, and Savita's shadow was to the right of Rita. That means shadow is this side. If shadow is this side, that means sun must be in this side, because shadow is always in the opposite direction of sun. And what is the time? Time is morning, that means this direction is east, this direction is west. Now from east, when we go anti-clockwise, in the change of direction concept I taught you, from east when we go anti-clockwise we get north, from north we get west, and then west we get south. So this is south, okay, and from south we get east. So this is your circle of directions. Just to understand, you don't have to draw this in the examination, just to understand how this all works. Okay. Now the question is, which direction was Rita facing? Rita is facing which direction? South. So answer will be south. The entire question is based on this understanding. The morning time, sun is in the east, shadows are towards west. If east is towards your left and west is towards your right, that means you are facing the south direction. Alright, next question. Let's see this question. Town A is 15 meters north of town B. Okay, don't worry about unit here, 15 meters or kilometers or miles. You see, town A is 15 meters north of town B. Just let's take this and see, this is town B and town A is to the north of town B. Okay, so this is town A and this is 15 meters. Okay, now town C is 6 to the east of town A, so this is 6, and this is town C, which is 6 to the east of town A. Town D is 9 to the north of town C, so this is town D, and town D is 9 to the north of town C. Town E is 1 meter east of town E, so this is E and this is 1 meter. What is the shortest possible distance between B and E? So this distance we have to find out. Earlier also we have seen very similar questions, so it will not be tough at all. Complete the triangle. See the distance total here, 6 plus 1, 7, so one distance is 7, and 15 plus 9, 24, this is 24. So we have to find out what is this distance. X square is equal to 7 square plus 24 square, and what is 7 square? 49, and what is 24 square? 576, and what will be this total? 625, and x is equal to under root 625, which is equal to 25. So what is the answer? 25. Clear? 25 meters. Clear? This is the answer for this question. Next, look at this question now. Ram started from his home and walked 20 meters towards east. Let's start with this statement. Let's say this is the home, and he walked 20 meters towards east. So this is 20 meters. Then he turned left and walked 10 meters. He turned left and walked 10 meters. Further, he turned 270 degrees in the anti-clockwise direction and walked 40 meters. So what do we mean by 270 degrees? 270 degrees means 90 plus 90 plus 90. Okay. So if I say, suppose someone is here, okay, this point, he turns 270, he goes 90, again 90 and 90, he will be going in this direction. But turning 270 degrees anti-clockwise, 270 degrees anti-clockwise, isn't it same as turning Clear? It's same as turning 90 degrees clockwise. Instead of turning 93 times in the anti-clockwise direction, the person could have turned once 90 degree in the clockwise direction. This is clockwise. So this just to confuse you. So he turned 270 degree anti-clockwise. Basically, we are saying that he turned 90 degree in the clockwise. So if he is going straight, this is the direction he will go. 90 degrees clockwise and walked 40 meters. So he will go in this direction. Then he turned right and walked 10 meters. So he turned right and walked 10 meters. So this is 10 meters. Finally, he turned right again. So again he turns right and walks 15 meters. So this is 15 meters. How far is he from his home? So first of all, let's see how much is this distance. Total is 40. Total is 40. This is 15. So the remaining will be 25. 20 plus 25, that is equal to 45. So what is the distance from his home? He is 45 meters away from his home. That is how you solve this question. Alright. Now let's next question we see here. One morning Sachin walked 20 meters from his home. So similar question. Most questions are of this type only. Let's see here. Sachin walked 20 meters from his home towards south. So he went. So let's say this is his home. He went 20 meters from his home towards south. So 20 meters south. Then he turned left and walked 30 meters. So he turned left and walked 30 meters. Then turn left again and walked 20 meters. So he's turning left. So he turns. Sorry, this is right actually because it's going south, right? So just sorry, 1 second. So when it's going south, right is towards your left and left is towards your right. So walk 20 meters south and then turns left and walk 30 meters. So he'll go 30 meters this direction. Then it turn left again. So if you're going east, left will be towards your north. So you're going north and walk 20 meters. So he'll walk 20 meters. So this is 20 meters. Finally turn left and walked 40 meters. So he turned left and walked 40. So this is total 40. You know this total is 40 because here already we know this is 30. So 30 plus 10. 30 plus 10 is 40 and reach a shop. This is a shop. This is a home. Clear? How far is he from his home? He is 10 meters from his home. And which direction? West. So 10 meters west. That's the answer for this question. So basic diagrams if we make and we solve the questions, it will not be difficult to solve questions on direction sense. The concept is very familiar to you, just putting a proper structure to the concept. One is changing names of direction, that might be something new. Second is the concept of light and shadow, how it will play in a question that is asked in your examination. That is something important for you. Alright, we have discussed problems also of various difficulty levels in the session today. So if you have followed the class properly, you will be able to solve questions on direction sense that come in your examination, IBPS Clerk examination 2018. So now is the time for the class practice pack. Those who have passport access will start solving the question. The question that most of you get wrong, I will be discussing in my next reasoning discussion session. Alright, so best of luck to you for your examination and prepare well. Thank you for watching the video.